Hi, and thank you so much for joining me for day 9 of Scraptember 2023, a hop where every day Laura Alberts and the Scrappy sisters provide us with some brilliant prompts to help us preserve our memories in scrapbooking and use up our stash, our ever-growing stash, if you're anything like me. So today I've grabbed Shimelle's main character Energy, and I'm scrapping a photo of the kids from back in 2014 when we went with Leanne and her family to Disney Paris. They're just trying to put their hands in the little moulding on the floor there. So I've just pulled out some of the papers from the pad that I felt would work nicely with this photo. There are some nice bright colours in Sophie's cardigan, and Amelia's got her Mickey Mouse t-shirt on with all the Disney colours, so plenty to work with. And I've cut some strips to add along the bottom of the page, and now I'm just working on a photo mat to add behind that photo. The photo is 4x6, or actually I think it's 3.5 by 5.5. This is one that I had printed a while ago from one of these printing companies, and I noticed it wasn't quite as wide as my normal photos that I print at home, so I'm wondering if it's slightly smaller. I haven't actually measured it. So just trimming a tiny bit of that photo down because the white card that I was using for the photo mat was a little bit smaller. Isn't it crazy? I've got so much white card in this house. I could have just gone and grabbed another piece, but instead I'm faffing about trimming bits off my photo to make it match. Honestly, I drive myself insane sometimes. So now I'm just going to stick that down onto that pink heart paper, and then off camera I will distress the edges of that just to add some texture. So now I'm sticking those strips down, being very careful just to add glue in the middle of them because today's prompt is to use stitching on the layout. So off camera I'm going to take this over to my sewing machine and add some black stitching lines all the way across between the two papers, between each of the papers, almost as if I've done some quilting, stitch in the ditch. So you can just see the stitches there. I chose a fancy stitch on my sewing machine which has a zigzag with a larger zigzag going every so often, and I love how that black really makes the papers pop and it looks like I've stitched them all together. So now I'm going through this cut apart paper just to have a look at what I can see there, and straight away I see that there's a card that says there is magic in you, so I want to layer that next to the photo of the kids. So just trimming that off the sheet. This sheet has so many possibilities. I can't wait to really dig into that. And I decide that it's going to sit on the right hand side of the photo there. So I definitely want to use these film strips from 49 and Market. I pulled those out before I even started to choose my papers. I was determined to bring that red in from Amelia's t-shirt and Sophie's little backpack there. So I pulled out a film strip for the top. I'm going to add a little cluster at the top and a film strip for underneath that photo. So now I'm just going to go through there's a sheet of cut aparts in that pot and also all the ephemera pieces, and I'm just going through to see anything that might be suitable to work on this layout. So I find this little lilac word phrase and I'm thinking of adding that to the photo at the top, which says Free Spirit. That tag which says Star Power looks promising, but it doesn't actually make it to the final layout in the end. And then here's another piece that says Be Yourself, and I think that's more appropriate, so I switched that out with the lilac piece. And then this is an offcut from a journaling card that I've used previously. I think I used whatever was at the top of the journaling card and just cut this piece off, but it really grounds that film strip at the bottom, so it makes it pop because it's got the white background. So I decided to use that underneath there. And then another word strip that says Stay Curious. I just wanted something to add to that right-hand corner there above the phrase card, so I chose that butterfly, and I've also chosen this stack of flowers which I thought would look nice in that bottom right-hand corner. Here's another one of those phrase cards, and this says this is real life, and I do like that, so I'm adding that to the left-hand side. The beauty of the 12 by 12 paper pad in Shimelle's collection is that a lot of the pieces are foiled, so you really get that sparkle and shine, which works fantastically well with photos like this. So here I am with some more of those journaling cards. Again, that orange one that I've obviously used the top bit for something else, and then another one that I'm cutting the top bit off of to use on this layout. Just trimming, I've used my scissors on that orange one and really didn't do a good job, so I was just trimming the edge because I want that to overhang the top. And then just looking to see what else I can add. I find this piece that says Oh Happy Day, and I think that will work really nicely up there, and it just breaks up that cut edge on that journaling card. So here's that other film strip piece that I'm using, and I want everything to fall off the edges of that orange journaling card, so just manoeuvring things around. And these are the printables that we sell at Hey Little Magpie. This is the main character energy sheet that I've designed to go with Shimelle's collection. And I've just used my 1-inch circle punch to punch out that camera on the peach colour, and I will add a epoxy flare badge to that to make it into an epoxy flare. I've also pulled out one of our fabric smile labels, which will be added to the right hand side of the photo at the bottom. And now I'm just going to bring in some tangled thread to add behind that flare badge there. And I'm using black because I want to bring that pop of black all around the page. Amelia's wearing her black leggings, and the black really does make these other colours stand out on the layout. So just getting all that stuck down now. So I'm really happy with the positioning. So just curling up the edges and adding the glue underneath so that I don't move anything, because as soon as it moves, I won't remember where it was and I'll be really frustrated. I do this all the time. I spend hours trying to work out exactly where things are going to go. Really happy with the positioning, and then pull it apart and can't remember. I know people have said take a photo, but I use my phone to film with, so I don't have some. I suppose I could grab my iPad, couldn't I, and take a photo. I might have to do that in the future. So just adding the glue to make sure everything's adhered down, and then getting that flare badge stuck down. And these printables are brilliant. We sell them as pre-printed sheets if you want them pre-printed, or we sell them as downloadable PDFs if you want to print your own. And of course the advantage of printing your own is that you can print as many sheets as you want, and they have labels and circle elements on 1 inch and 1 1/4, I think they are, circle elements, so they're really handy to add to your stash. And we try and design them for most of the collections that we stock at Hey Little Magpie. So just getting these bottom pieces stuck down now, and you'll see I do cover up an awful lot of that stitching, but there's still plenty showing, and I wasn't really sure where I was going with this layout when I first started, so I decided to just stitch straight the way across, and sometimes it's easier than faffing around with stopping and starting when you're sewing in a straight line. So this fabric tag at the end, you'll see in the close-ups at the very end of this video, I do actually go in with some hand stitching and some wax thread to adhere that down properly. For now, I'm just going to use a tape runner to get it stuck down in position. So I'm adding some foam pads. These are the Sticks 2 foam pads to that floral cluster, just to make it stand out and give different layouts, different layers to the layout. And then I'm going to get that main picture stuck down as well. And once again, on foam pads, these are the Sticks 225mm ones that you buy on a big roll, and they're absolutely fantastic. We sell them at Hey Little Magpie, but I'm sure you can get them elsewhere as well. So just sticking that down, and you can see it works really nicely in between those two cut aparts. And then that tag at the top is going to be for my date. So I'm just bringing in one of our canvas flare there. I wasn't quite sure where I was going to put it, and I'm having a faff with that smile embroidery tag as well. But in the end, I decided to layer the flare badge up on top of the floral elements, and I will add some tangled thread behind that as well. So just working on building up the layering behind the top of the photo, and I spot this journaling tag, and I really want to add that behind, but I've already got all that foam, so I'm just cutting out the middle to tuck it around. And you'd never know that it wasn't a full sheet there now. So I love that layering at the top. I just feel it adds a little bit more dimension to the layout, and it sort of leads the eye up to that cluster at the top of the page as well. So just getting that piece stuck down, and then I can add the other pink piece, and then I can add the date to my tag and get that stuck down. Tab, isn't it? I get so confused. Labels, tabs, tags. I end up calling it everything. I think when you're trying to talk about something and not forget your words, which I do so very frequently, it's easy to say the wrong thing. So just adding some foam on that to raise it up to the same level as the photo, and then a little dot of glue underneath. This Nouveau glue is very nearly finished now, so I really do need to get a new bottle. It's frustrating having to shake it down to the bottom every time. My lovely friend Gwen bought me a stand to hold it, and I do have it in that stand, but when I'm in the middle of creating, as you can see, I just throw it to the side on my desk, and that's when it doesn't stay at the bottom when it's nearly empty. So you can see every time I'm using it, I'm having to give it a shake to get it down into the nozzle. So I added some glue to the Flair badge to stick the thread to, and then I'm adding some more glue to the layout to stick that down onto the layout, and then just sticking that little red puffy star down, and as I say, just a tiny bit of that tape runner just to hold that smile piece in place. And then I find a little puffy butterfly that we sell at Hey Little Magpie, which will work really nicely tucked under there. So now I'm going to come in with some gold splatters, which is usually the last thing I do on a layout, but I do come back in with a few more bits. When I was tidying up afterwards, I saw the 6x12 sticker sheet, which has been really badly neglected. I've been focusing in on the embellishments, the cut apart ephemera pieces. So I do end up adding a few more. I felt that the area at the top of the layout on the left hand side looked very blocky, so I just wanted to add another strip there. So I found this True Story piece, the banner piece, which works really nicely, so I did that on foam pads and I'm much happier with that. And then this is the 6x12 sticker sheet, so I just found a couple of gold stars, one to add at the top there and one to add at the bottom, and then a little arrow that points down to the rest of the layout, and that's it. So please do check the description box for everybody else playing along on this hop. I hope you've enjoyed this layout, and I shall see you again tomorrow for the next one. Bye for now.